What's up, everyone? It's time. Super Bowl 59 right around the corner, and we are talking props. Everything that you can prop bet for Super Bowl 59, Eagles versus the Chiefs. And with me to break it down, we got the Sharp Surgeon, Sharp Better Extraordinaire from the Sharp app. In addition, we have Alex, aka Gorilla Sports and the Gorilla Sports Podcast, also known as a Sharp Better as well. And we're going to just take a look across the various props, the various not just the standard props. We're going to look at that. We're going to come up with some plays that Alex likes and some plays that Sharp Surgeon likes as well. And we're also going to take a look at some novelty props that are available on some of these books. I don't get too crazy with the novelties, but we're going to see if we can find any that stand out, that make sense. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? Will he finally become Travis Swift? We'll find out during the Super Bowl itself. T Swift. Oh shit! Wait a minute. That jersey in the background, Surgeon, is crazy. So let's jump right into it, guys. So we're putting this together, and have you guys come up with any props that you love in terms of the player props? Let's jump into it. And Keith, take me through what you found so far.
Yeah. So the way that I first approach props is I like to get a kind of vision of where I am at totally. And the way that I do that is I scour all the sports books and I look at their lines and what the story is being told to me through their lines. And I'm lucky to have the Sharp app odds screen because it's just so much easier to do that. So I'm going to jump in right away to kind of show you my process. And I have the receiving yards for the players up right now. And if we look at the Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers, I mean, we got 70.5 for AJ Brown, 51.5 for Devonta Smith. And then we have people like, I don't even think he's on here because he's that limited. Dotson, who only has 3 yards. And then, of course, you got Dallas Goedert to get 53.5. But there's really no other wide receivers. It's just those 4 plus the running back Saquon Barkley. So this lets me get an even closer metric because I can just focus in on those 3 wide receivers. I'm kind of,
When you do that, so
go ahead.
You just mentioned the 3 wide receivers or the 3 possible pass catchers for the Eagles, right? So yeah. I can show on my screen, I have the top props open up, the top props tool, right? And we show that the sports books have 199 passing yards as the main rate for Jalen Hurts right now. So he's sitting at about 199 on the prop minus 115. Our model, the Sharp model, likes the over in that one to 230 yards. So taking the fact that, on the sports book, Hurts is set for 199. We like him a little bit to the over. As far like the bet right now would be over on that passing yards. And again, the football reasoning for that is Chiefs are really good against the run. Eagles probably gonna have to throw a little bit more in this game than they normally do, which would cause Hurts to beat his normal average passing yards, which is really right around 200. It's pretty close to his average for the season. Actually, he's averaging even less than that, about 170. So the question is, knowing 199, do you take that and you're looking at the yardage totals for Goddard, Smith, and Brown, and even Barkley, and saying, oh yeah, these numbers up and see what's going on?
Yeah, so that's basically what I was getting to was, so if you take all those totals and add it up, you get to 190, okay? And FanDuel, which I think is one of the sharpest sports books for player props, they have Jalen Hurts at 211.5 passing yards. So, I mean, we have a 20-yard discrepancy. And the question is, which one is wrong? Because, both of them don't line up, right? So either Jalen Hurts isn't going to get enough passing yards, even though, we have the Proptimizer, which has been completely accurate over the last several years using, blitz projections along with other projections in it, or are the, wide receiver props undervalued? And, another way to look at it is, okay, next I want to look at Saquon Barkley, because again, like, what's it going to be, right? Is Saquon Barkley going to get the rushing yards, or are they going to be forced to pass, right? And once we put all those puzzle pieces together, then we can start to see value. And I'm just going to, make it pretty short. I think that the wide receivers are undervalued. I think I'm going to go with the Proptimizer. And I think just like the Super Bowl rematch, which was 2-3 years ago, they're going to go to those same three guys, the tight end, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, and Devonta Smith. And the thing is, when you have just three people to go from, one of those guys are going to hit big. So one of my biggest props that I'm going to hit are the alt receptions for AJ Brown.
All right, so there we go. Hang on, I'm going to actually show my screen, and I'm going to add in the. I'm just going to show this real quick because I have the Proptimizer open already on the receiving yard. So AJ Brown, right now, if you go to a normal sports book, let's see here. We'll pull up the markets for Brown. Looks like the best one is really actually, interestingly, Bally Bet's on top of it a lot, but Bally Bet over 69 is the standard number. So if you go across them all, they're all 69, 70, 71. That is where AJ Brown is right now. You're like an alt over. So what would that look like?
So I'm kind of focusing in on receptions. And the reason why I'm doing that is because they're going to get a long ball out to AJ Brown. There's going to be a few, but you can't really depend on that to get you over the yards. I think that receptions is a much stricter, more common, factor that you can kind of calculate, right? Because those targets are going to be met more so than whether or not he catches that 50-yard long bomb, right? So I have over 5.5 receptions at plus 115. I believe it's 125 on Bet365, which unfortunately I can't get down on. But again, you want to have as many as possible.
I've got the best one I have on my, in my part of the world, because this screen is I only have it set to New York, but the best one I have going here is Fanatics at plus 120 for that over, which is pretty good.
That's fine.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Before I can go deeper, I wanted to throw it back to Alex first, because I don't want to speak over, some speaking points that we probably share. I know we're kind of like on the same brain length there.
Yeah, my first play is I'm looking at Dallas Goedert for sure. For Dallas Goedert, I look at over his 4.5 catches and over his 49.5 receiving yards. Now, I've been attacking versus the Chiefs tight ends all year long. The Chiefs versus the tight ends all year long. The Chiefs are dead last in the NFL covering the tight end. They give up the most receiving yards. They give the fourth most catches. They give the fourth most yards per catch. And Dallas Goedert has actually been a monster in the playoffs. He has at least 4 catches in 9 straight playoff games. He's averaging 57 yards a game over that stretch. In the last Super Bowl, he had 6 catches for 60 yards in the 2023 Super Bowl versus Kansas City. Now, his average is 50 on the season, but now he's got arguably one of the best matchups versus the Chiefs, who can't cover the tight end. In the 3 playoff games so far already this season, he's averaging 63 receiving yards and 5 catches in the playoffs. And all of those games were in cold Philly. And now we're going to the fast track in New Orleans. I think Dallas Goedert's got a great shot at both of his props, both catches and his receiving yard prop, both.
Let's see here. So I'm checking the books. I've got the Proptimizer open on the Sharp app. And really cool. I love this feature. I just typed his name in, filter whatever markets I want, and I can see every Goddard. I use receptions and yardage props, so I can see them all here. The over and the underside. All right. So Goddard set at really 52.5 receiving yards, between 50 and 52, depending where you're looking. DraftKings has it at 52. So potentially looking at an over there. Do you combine that with an over 4.5 receptions, which is actually plus money at this moment? Is that a combo situation? Do you like one better than the other?
Not for me, no. I like them both separately as just individual one-unit plays. I don't want to, add too many to the same thing because, one injury, especially when you're taking overs and you're cooking 2 separate plays altogether. So he could also catch 4 for, 60 yards, and then you're, a half a catch shy, or on the other side, only catch a couple and break a couple. So I do like them both as separate plays. I'd probably say over the 4.5 catches is my better look. I just don't see, I see Kansas City being able to kind of tackle him in short yardage, but no, I like both of those props separately.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. KC has been one of the worst teams versus the tight end.
Literally number one, the worst team. I've bet a ton on this on my podcast as well, and been sharing anything versus the tight end versus Kansas City. Although for some reason Dalton Kincaid didn't get the memo in the championship game, and he stunk. And which is funny because if he had caught that miracle ball, that would have put him over his prop. But that was one of my plays as well for last week.
How do you drop that? How?
I mean, it wasn't easy, but at the same rate, like your whole career just flashed before your eyes as that ball is about to slip through your fingers.
You got to catch that. It was less difficult of a catch than it even looked at first. Like when you look at the replay, you're like, wait a second.
When you break it down, exactly.
Why didn't he catch that one? What is going on there? So that was a real bummer when that happened. Yeah, but that's partially because Dalton Kincaid is not very good, and also not on the field like what people think. Dalton Kincaid is one of those players. This is really important to understand. Like we all think he's this starting tight end for the Bills. The guy has a 50%. The guy had a 50. We knew going into that game, he's only on the field for 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, snap rate.
He was overvalued. When him and Knox are there, they weren't giving him enough.
True. And like Keith said earlier, just with the condensed receiver room in the Eagles, they are throwing to 3 people. Jahan Dotson isn't. I mean, maybe he'll have a couple of spray plays in there here and there, but it's literally just those 3 guys.
Well, it's crazy. So for the Kansas City Chiefs, here's who's projected to have more catches than Dotson. Okay. Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, Perrine, Worthy, Hopkins, Brown, Juju, Kelsey, and even Noah Gray. Okay. Yeah. All of those players are
they all will have more.
Yeah, no kidding. All will. Justin Watson, you can throw in there a couple of them.
The Eagles are, I do the showdown breakdowns for DFS Army, as you know. And so we look at these individual game situations very much. And we're constantly diving in deep to what can happen in a one game. If we're just focusing on this one game. And we have players that are turds. And Kansas City is what I call a team with tons of turds. And turds being these guys who get 1 or 2 receptions, are on the field 20-30% of the snaps. You're like, oh, this is making it complicated to actually figure out who's going to do anything because all these guys are out there and they spread the football around. The Eagles are the opposite. They're a no turd team. You know exactly where they're going with the football. It's a miracle if it goes to Jahan Dotson. By the way, if you're betting, so let me bring it around to the Dotson thing. There is a bet and a play on Jahan Dotson, but the play isn't over 3.5 receiving yards. That's just stupidity. The play is Jahan Dotson over 40 receiving yards, because if he's going to get it done, his most likely reception is a long touchdown reception, not like they don't throw to him.
Yeah, it's not a possession guy. Yeah,
no.
I hear you. That makes a lot of sense, man.
Jalen Hurts doesn't do that anyway. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is not. He's going to run the football. He's not going to safety.
He's not checking it down. Yep.
But Jahan Dotson does have the skill set of a deep ball specialist. He is a touchdown scorer. His first season in the league, I think he scored 7 touchdowns on like 12 receptions. Like it was something ridiculous. I just exaggerated that. It was really 4 touchdowns on maybe 8 receptions. It wasn't 7. But he got a lot of touchdowns and very few receptions. And it was like, oh, yeah, this guy's one skill is he's good at tracking the football and scoring and getting in the end zone. So I would, if there was a Jahan Dotson play, I haven't looked at the numbers, but for me, it would be like over 40 yards and a touchdown for like plus 1,200 or some insanely high.
Yeah, north of that, but I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a good play.
That's Keith, you'd know that you'd get the numbers going, but does that speak to you at all? That sing to you? Little crazy prop for over on Dotson.
I think that's the way to really handle it. There's a few other things that you can do, and it's really important to learn the sportsbook's rules, right? So, for example, a lot of the sportsbooks have rules where longest reception, you have to make a catch for it to count, right? So you can take, kind of like ARBs or free rolls where, you bet the over and then you bet the under for reception, right?
Wait. Let me understand this. If I bet longest reception, Jahan Dotson, and he has no receptions at all, that doesn't actually count. That goes to, that's a no bet.
On some.
Yeah. Good point.
That's why it's very important to make sure you know what the house rules are.
You got to read the rules.
I love that. I mean, I think that kind of thinking is what's possible when you combine data with bottom up. Like top down plus bottom up is where it's at for me. And I think just taking all these tools and actually going through the thought process on how it can help you is the way of the future for sports betting.
So what you're saying is we have to be open to understanding what can be unburdened by what has been.
Yes.
Deep.
Exactly. Not how I'd word it, but
deep
yes,
from the Jets fan.
I had to throw that in there. I had to get that one in there. All right, so let's get down to some actual bets that we can pull the trigger on right now. Alex, you like the overs on?
I like the overs on Goddard. Yeah, I'm big on that one. Another one, just to kind of touch on, you kind of were talking about Jalen Hurts, and I actually agree with that as well. I like Jalen Hurts' combo prop of his passing and receiving yards combined. The best number it looks like I can find is about 254.5 on FanDuel. Now, the Chiefs allow the 5th most rushing yards to quarterback position. They've allowed the last 5 quarterbacks to go over this number that they're allotting, averaging 292 rushing and passing yards combined. And in the last Super Bowl, Hurts ran for 70 yards and threw for 304. He's had 2 weeks to heal that knee, so I think they're actually going to script some actual runs for him and not just like him taking off because, Chris Jones is all over him. And yeah, one of my favorite parts about this play is that the Sharp app agrees with me because it has a nice edge of, yeah, exactly. When I was looking that up, the Sharp app was all over this at about 18 or 20% edge. Anytime I do my research first and then I'll kind of second guess with the Sharp app and to kind of see what values they think. And when we totally align and agree, I find these props smash for me. So yeah, anytime the algorithms are agreeing with me, I'm pretty happy about it.
Guys, what I have open on screen here is the Proptimizer tool from the Sharp app. So that is what you're looking at right now. And one of the cool things about this tool is it very quickly just finds you edge plays. If you just, it's like a positive EV bet in your pocket. You open it up, you up right here. These are all positive edge. If it's just like Mahomes rushing attempts, whatever. But here for the Jalen Hurts play, the Sharp model likes Hurts to get to 281. That's what the projection is for the combo, right? If we look at the various sports books, one of the things, again, really fascinating to me is the difference between these books. Ballybet is at 241.5. Again, this is just in my neighborhood.
Yep.
Ballybet, great number, 241.5. Let's fucking go. Ballybet.
Yep. Love that. Let's go.
But if I go down the list, if I just happen to have clicked on DraftKings, which is my normal click, now I'm at 260. And guys, there's a big difference between 241 and 260. That's the 100%. Difference between winning bets and losing bets right there. So aside from liking the bet, and obviously we like the bet even at the 260 level because the projection here is for 280. It's really important that
shop around.
You got to shop this number. Bet Rivers is also at 241. Fine, right? Go play on Bet Rivers. Why are they there? Maybe they're slow to move it. Maybe they don't know. It's a lot of markets. It's the Super Bowl. There's a lot going on. So take the gift. As a matter of fact, Keith, can I middle this one and just take over? Can I take over 240 on Bet Rivers, go to DraftKings, hit the under 260? Is that worth doing, even though both are minus 105? Like you're paying juice on both sides just to try to catch the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if the price dictates it, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great middle.
Personally, though, I'm all over this Bet Rivers bet. I'm gonna try and hijack. Let me see if I can hijack.
Take the screen. Yeah, I know how to do that. I'll put you in there. Hang it. Here we go. Yeah, there it is.
I really want to go to the passing yards in this Sharp app odds screen. Let me find it. Player passing yards. Here we go. All right. So we got Pinnacle at 210.5 for Jalen Hurts. We have 211.5 at FanDuel. And on Bet Rivers, we have 199.5 minus 14. Okay. And it's I don't know why they have it, but it just screams value for me. And what you can do is you can actually apply like a manual filter. So every yard of discrepancy. So if we use Pinnacle as our source of truth, a lot of people do.
Yep.
They're a very accurate book. Every yard off of that is going to be worth 5 points, right? So if you have minus 112, 209.5 should be minus 117. You go down another one, 208.5, that's going to be minus 124, right? And when you go down the ladder, it's going to be about minus 160, right? And I'm sure if you go to...
So what you're saying is, and show me on screen with the alt number, because I'm curious to see it in real time, like on a book. But what you're saying is Pinnacle's at minus one, Pinnacle's at 210 yards. Bally / Bet Rivers are both sitting at 199. So what you're saying is, just from a straight EV perspective, and that's what we want to talk about here. We want to talk about EV bets, value bets, bets that put our money in an advantage situation every single time. We want to put our money in advantage situations. That technically the number at 199 should really be more like minus 150. And so getting it at minus 115 is a W regardless of what happens.
Absolutely. And I'll show you through here. So we have a FanDuel alt, which is basically what the Bet Rivers line is at. So 200 plus, it's minus 160 here. Now, if we kind of, incorporate the hold, we can call it minus 150, right?
So let me give a supermarket example of this. All right. There's 2 shops down the street. I don't know the Canadian supermarkets, or I'd speak a local name. It's like Tim Hortons, or I don't know. That's the only thing I knew. But you're down the street, you got the ShopRite and you got the Fairway, right? The one that's a little nicer, that costs a little more. So what do you want to pay for a dozen eggs? You want to pay $1.60 or you want to pay $1.10? It's the same dozen. It's the same eggs. It's the same. In this case, you're paying $1.60. The other case, you're paying $1.10. Now, you might win this bet and you're like, what's the difference? I won the bet. I don't care about how much money I pay. That's not how a sharp bettor, that's not how an advantage bettor looks at a bet. An advantage bettor says, I want value on my side every single time. So you're getting essentially 45 cents or 40 cents worth of value to take the over 199 passing yards for Hurts, backed up by the fact that the model here on Sharp, which has been specifically and particularly awesome for QB passing yards this season, by the way. If you guys have been on the Proptimizer,
it has, yeah.
Absolutely one of my favorite.
QB passing yards has been crushing. Yeah,
and weirdly, it's usually counterintuitive to kind of what I was thinking going in. But it's been super good with that already. So we already know that's one of the prop types that is more predictable, at least for the Sharp model.
Yep.
Grab it. The model likes it anyway to 230, and in this case, get it for 199. So you're going Bally Bet or Bet Rivers on this one. Save the money. And Keith proves it on screen there by showing the alt line on DraftKings. If you want that same over 200 on DraftKings, you are paying $1.60 to win $1 versus $1.09 to win $1 on these other sites. And it's the same product in the end. You're still winning the same dollar. It just costs you a lot more to do it on DraftKings than it will, in this case, on Bally or Rivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing about the Sharp app odds screen is you can actually quantify it even deeper. So on this tab on the side here, we have a calculator. And what you can do is go to the odds converter. So it's minus 160. Let's incorporate the hold a little bit. So minus 150 comes to 60%. All right. We're going to go to the EV calculator now. We're going to plug that in as our probability. And because we're paying minus 114 instead, at a 60% win probability, our expected value is 12.63. So you can actually quantify it right in the tab without going to external websites, without, Googling calculators. It's right there.
Yep.
And within a few clicks, you can be like, okay, this is a great bet.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, even if we, think that the hold is a little bit stronger because it's not too easy to calculate one-way holds, we can view that as minus 140, which is 58.33, and do the same thing. And we are going to get a positive EV value still. So, I mean, for me, when the math jumps out at you, it's verified and backed up by consistently accurate models. That's a good bet in my opinion.
Autoplay. Yep.
You want to smash that one.
Yep.
All day. So I love it. And I like that. Like you said, the math backed it up. I'll take anything. Like EV betting is really all about, hey, if DraftKings is selling this for minus 160 and I can buy it for minus 115 somewhere else, same deal.
Done.
Let's just do that as often as you possibly can. Clip those spots all the time. Might not win them all. Certainly not likely to win them all. But Keith, you said it's a 12% edge, which for us means you should really expect that over time, if you always did that, if we did it 1,000 times, that there would be about a 12% edge in those. So over the course of 1,000 of them, you will be profitable to the tune of about 10 or 12%. That's what that really is.
Which turns losers into winners, 100%. Yep.
And that style of betting, of course, requires lots and lots of bets. It's like flipping a coin. I can't predict what's going to happen on the next 5 flips, but if you flip it 5,000 times, I'm pretty confident it's going to go 50-50. Next 5, it could be all heads. Don't know. Speaking of coin flips, let's talk about that. That's transition. I learned that at Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Speaking of coin flips, you guys mentioned prior to this a pretty cool way to play the coin flip bet. So Alex, you were telling me about this a little bit. A lot of the sports books have this sort of a novelty prop on the coin flip, heads or tails. And it's a stupid prop. There's no edge to either side of it. Why should I bet it? How do I gain an edge with that one, Alex?
So the edge that you're actually trying to get when you're playing this is to play both sides of the coin per se. So if you go to, say, a Prophet X or to a DraftKings and you take heads on the one side and you take tails on the other side, as long as you're getting a plus value. So even if it's just plus 100 or plus 101, you may not actually win on either side a lot of money, but what you are going to win is the air miles or the DK points or the Prophet X points, whatever point system that they have for your sportsbook is how you're going to kind of, in the long run, win off of these sportsbooks. It's always us versus the books. So I try and give anyone any advice that they can, but to have arbitrage bets where you don't lose no matter what, but you still gain status or points, and you go from a bronze to a silver, all of a sudden your bonuses that they give you are higher, or the reload bonuses that you give are much higher percentages. So either books don't know which side you're betting on other sports books. So if you take heads on one and tails on the other, but you're getting plus 101 on both sides, yeah, on a $100 bet, you're only winning $1, but those bets add up to get you the extra points so you can kind of get your status higher and get more value and more bonuses.
So effectively, one can use, because most of the books do that no vig, so they don't vig that specific bet. It's like plus 100 on both sides. They do it as a novelty. There might be some limits in some of the books on how much you can get down on that.
Yeah.
But more importantly, just effectively, what you're saying is take advantage of the freebie.
Yep.
Churn some bets in some of these sports books, run it through, get a free night at Caesars, get some MGM credits for their VIP. Whatever the programs are that benefit people who bet a lot, take advantage of it on a spot like this. And the better part is the sportsbook sees you betting on that, and they think you're a donkey who bets on silly props. Bingo. They're not understanding, so that they're not putting a flag on your account like Sharp. They're putting a flag on your account that says donkey.
Donkey, yeah, exactly.
Bet more.
Yep, yeah, 100%.
They don't even realize what's happening.
Yep.
So I love that. I love that concept. Of course, it's very important to find books that have a rewards plan and would reward you for the volume that you put in. And then, of course, they have to have the prop set at plus 100.
Yes,
I see
that's
here.
key.
Keith,
yep.
Yeah, Keith, you just pulled up Prophet X. I believe that's what I'm seeing on the screen here. On Prophet X, they have it even odds plus 100. Fine. The cool thing about Prophet X, by the way, if you're not using this site, I just want to point out Prophet X for the Super Bowl is running a promo where they don't have deposit bonuses because they don't have VIGs on Prophet X. It is an exchange, player versus player. The odds are always tighter. It's always a better place to place a bet than a normal sports book if you can get the action down. The volume is there for the larger markets, maybe not quite there yet for like very obscure props, but it's definitely there for main markets. And they are a growing site. We love Prophet X.
It's such a clever idea. Yeah, I absolutely love that it's peer to peer instead of just you versus the book. It's Yeah. Sorry,
You
go
can
ahead.
never get limited. As we talk to sharp bettors, you can never get limited on an exchange. They want as much volume as you can get, and they don't care if you win or lose. So that's cool. Now they are running a little promo for the Super Bowl where if you sign up for ProfitX, and I'll put that link in our description here. If you sign up for ProfitX now and use promo code SharpApp, that's our link that will be included in the description here. They enter you, if you do a $100 deposit, they enter you to win a Rolex. So like,
let's go.
I'll take a Rolly.
Yeah, I'll take a Rolly. Yeah, go on.
100. So you could literally go on ProfitX right now, deposit $100, bet heads or tails, bet one side of this, go on another book. You want to bet the other side. I'm certainly not risking my true money on a coin flip. That is just not a good risk to take. But you get yourself in a raffle to win a Rolly. I don't even know if that's the nickname for Rolex. I'm not in the Rolex.
Just making it up.
I just totally made that up. But I don't know what the nickname is. But you can win a Rolex, which is cool, and it's a $15,000 watch. I'll take it. But also get to know a really cool site here in ProfitX where you can get some action down. You guys might find that you love it. They also have over 500 Super Bowl prop like silly bets going on here. You can bet on if Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift during this game. Like that is a bet. It's plus 900. If I, so I'm not taking a spot. I'm not taking a side, but that is available. There it is. Yeah.
Hard stance.
I don't know. I say no.
Already got it envisioned right here. I might have to hit the yes. So,
fucking lame.
T Swift, the true T Swift, Travis Swift. He can she'll finally make a man out of him, make an honest man out of him.
Go Birds.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump back into it, guys, and get back into some more props that are exciting. What do you have for me, Keith?
Okay, so I wanted to kind of circle back to what Alex was saying about Goddard, is that I'm kind of on the receptions, though. And I think that, again, when you have such a small group of receivers to throw to, and it's not going to be a uniform distribution, right? You're not going to be like, all right, well, the completion's 17 and a half. I'm going to go 6, 6, and 6. There's going to be one guy that's probably going to have success, and that's going to get the targets. And I think there's two possibilities. It's going to be A.J. Brown or Goddard. And here's the thing. KC is going to be blitzing a ton.
Yep.
A ton. And if Jalen Hurts only has like a second and a half to get rid of the ball, who do you think he's going to go to? Right? I mean, McDuffie's on A.J. Brown. He could very well get open. I think he's number one in man coverage. It's a very likely option, but I think they're going to go with a more sure hand Goddard. And I think that they're going to try and do a yak attack. I think they're going to get him the ball quick and get him to be more physical and gain those extra yards. And I think that's the way to kind of balance it out, because I think KC is going to be forced to stack that box. They're going to have to do something to stop the run. And when they do that, that leaves other options open. And if they're forced to play man, which is something that they do consistently anyways, I think, again, I can easily see A.J. Brown with 8 or 9 receptions. I can see Goddard with the same thing. And like looking at Bet365, you got, plus 450 for A.J. Brown to get 8 receptions. I love that. You got Goddard to get plus 600 for 8 receptions. I love that as well. I mean, the Super Bowl, which was just 2 years ago, same thing. I think it was like A.J. Brown got like 7 or some receptions. It was very similar. If you just played the alts on those guys, you would be up like 10 units. And that's where I'm going again, because I think the game plan is going to be make Jalen Hurts throw. And again, when you have stats that are, kind of undervaluing the wide receivers and, the Jalen Hurts passing yards are going to be there, the completions are going to be there, I think that's what it's going to be. I think that Saquon Barkley market is a little overpriced. So I'm not going to touch those. I'm actually going to wait closer to game time, because that's when, traditionally you want to bet the unders. But for now, I'm all over those wide receiver overs and the tight end over.
I like it. Yeah, I was going to say rushing attempts for Barkley here. I'm just going to, because you mentioned Barkley, so I'm going to bring it up on screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you look at the Sharp model, and again, guys, I cannot stress enough, especially, the SA projection model. So if you're using the Proptimizer tool, this model right here will give you, the sharp projection, and it'll be sorted by edge. And if you look at the model here, we like the under on Barkley total rushing attempts. So his number at BetMGM is set at 21.5. We like the under to 18.7. And let me compare MGM to the other books here. Yeah, no, they're all 21.5. Let's see here. So yeah, you get the best number at MGM, but Profit X is right there at 21.5 as well. And then you'd have to pay juice on Rivers and Bally, which speaks to the fact that the lean is the under, and you can get it without that lean if you get it on MGM right now. So it is a strong number here. And it's interesting because Barkley goes over that number more often than not. So the fact that we like the under and it's pushing that is telling you this is not just a historical measure. This is specific to this game. The model prefers the under on him. And then if we get Barkley yardage, I believe we'll see the same. Yes. The sports book at DraftKings, for example, is the one to bet on. It's set at 130.5. We have it projected for 108.8. So the value should be to the under. And wait, DraftKings at 130. Every other sports book is, the sharpest book, FanDuel, is at 126. So that tells you DraftKings just overpriced this market as well. Oh, this is rushing plus receiving yards, but
same sentiment,
same concept. I'd probably prefer the straight rushing yards.
Yeah.
If you're actually, let me find the straight rushing yards.
It's right below it.
Yeah, I think I prefer that one. Let's, once again, you do see though, Profit X gives you the best number. So how nice that I just talked about Profit X, and there it is giving the best number. I love that. But Profit X giving the best, but FanDuel's right there at 10. So Profit X would be the one I would take here, minus 113.5 if I'm taking the under, and I'll pay the minus 113 for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big clue to me, and this is how I get kind of like the markets to speak to me. FanDuel is a book that is really confident in their prices. Rarely will they ever change their pricing unless it demands it, right? So if you actually look in the line changes of FanDuel, usually when they present their number, they're like, we're good. We're confident in our numbers, go for it. But in this case, they opened up at 114.5 for Saquon Barkley. And everyone's on Saquon Barkley. They're like, oh, look at him. He got 150, 200 yards. Of course I'm going to bet him. The public is all over Saquon Barkley. It's his birthday on the Super Bowl. I heard people, at the poker table be like, yeah, it's his birthday. Of course he's going to crush it. And I mean, if there was one time where your birthday could mean nothing at all, it's a Super Bowl. No one cares at all. If it was a meaningless game, yeah, sure, throw the guy a bone. No one cares about favors and getting people over on the Super Bowl. But anyways, that drop from 114.5 to 109.5 really speaks to me. And again, it supports my theory that it's going to be a passing game. They're going to force him to throw. They're going to stack the box and try and contain Barkley. And this data kind of supports that.
Not to mention, Kansas City comes into this game by DVOA as a top 3 rush defense in the league. That doesn't matter as much. The Super Bowl, one game setting. Barkley's awesome. All of that. But I actually think that the way that this game sets up from a game theory and just game flow perspective, I don't see the scenario, for example, a lot of Saquon Barkley's yardage has come, in the third quarter, teams leading, other teams getting tired, and you get the one breakaway run. One breakaway run will send him to the over, but without that one run, he's churning yardage the whole game. That's great. But without the 40, the 30, the big run for the touchdown, he probably doesn't get there. And Chiefs are really, really good, and they're also a very disciplined defense, not likely to forget about Saquon at any point. They're just too disciplined of a team. So I could see the whole game starting out a little bit slow. We're going to the second half. Barkley's, at about 40, 35 yards so far. And it's like, oh man, you'd be happy you have the under at that moment. Of course, you'll feel terrible if it went anything like the the NFC Championship game, where like the second play of the game, Barkley breaks a 35, 40 yarder, and you're like, oh, that's how this is going to go. But Keith, that one was much more predictable.
Yeah.
The Washington was a terrible rush defense. Like we knew Barkley was coming, right? He was 90% owned in the big DFS tournament. If you can imagine, that is the highest ownership of any player for any contest.
Easy.
Ever. Yeah.
The chalk. Yeah. The chalk.
I mean, talk about chalk. I did a whole show trying to figure out like any reason you could possibly fade that chalk. And the only one we came up with was, what if he got hurt?
Yes.
And 96% of the people have him. That was the only thing we came up with. Like he probably has more than a 4% chance of just getting hurt in a game. And he does. He's gotten hurt more than that in his career. So it's like, that's the only angle I could think of for not playing this guy. Other than that, he's going to smash here.
Yeah. So that week I actually loaded up on Kenneth Gainwell props.
Oh, you told me.
He kind of got his shot, but he got concussed and he got taken to the tent and didn't return.
Is that what happened? Wait.
Sorry, go ahead.
So you bet the Kenny G prop. I'm assuming it was based on the Eagles blowing them out and the backup getting more run late.
Yes. Yeah, so not only that, but there's a chance of him getting hurt. For Kenneth Gainwell to get 2 touchdowns, it was 150-1. So there's 2 ways to get there, right? 1, Barkley just gets hurt, and 2, they blow him out and Gainwell gets in there and scores 2 touchdowns. 150-1. I mean, that, like, instead of betting, like, I think it was plus 1,000 for 1 touchdown. I ended up not betting that. I ended up betting the last Philadelphia Eagles touchdown at plus 5,000, so 50-1. Shipley got that, which was like 100 and something.
That should have been your money.
Exactly.
So Kenny G should have been in there, except for that he got banged up, concussed, because that would have been him.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And in those spots, you can actually like count on those different factors, right? Like I'm more likely to, bet on the backups in that scenario. But in this case, there's no next week. Like there's no saving yourself. I don't expect Gainwell to like get many usage at all. Like unless like Barkley's like struggling and he's like panting.
He'll have no usage.
He's in it. Like he's going to be there.
This is the Super Bowl. The only version that plays out where Kenny Gainwell is in the game is the injury situation. That's it. Somebody gets hurt, fine. By the way, greater than 0% chance of that happening. Like that does happen. So I think that's a perfectly acceptable bet at the right amount of odds. But you have to have a taste for low probability plays to mess with something like that. Where a lot of what we've talked about so far is what I think are high probability plays. I think, the overs on AJ Brown, great. Goddard, great. Maybe Hurts passing. That whole combination, cool. And for those people who are listening here, there's value in all of those overs. Maybe parlay it up, do what you got to do to make it crazy and have fun with it for the Super Bowl. Right. And then, but Keith, you are a specialist of long odds, crazy plays that hit as well. That is, I think your niche. Like I said, the Jahan Dotson over 50 yards and a touchdown, plus 1,200, plus 1,500 insanity is something that could totally work. What else do you have for me?
So going back to that whole like putting your whole body on the line thing, I really like Jalen Hurts longest rush over 11.5. So if you throw it back to me, I'm going to go like this. All right. So here we have Pinnacle, which I respect Pinnacle sharpness. They're at 13.5. Elbay, being juiced a little bit to the under. You got 12.5s everywhere. But on FanDuel, you can get 11.5 at minus 114. And I'm telling you, the difference between 11.5 and 12.5 is huge, okay? Because on these, second, third, and 10 situations, they're going to stretch that ball, but it's not going to be that much. Like they're going to try and get out of bounds to protect themselves. But at the same time, they're going to give it a little bit more because again, there's no next week, right? Think about the Tennessee Rams game. The game was 1 yard. That was the difference of the Super Bowl, 1 yard. So of course, I think they're going to put their whole body on the line, stretch out as much as they can. And when you're picking up that first down, instead of going out right at that marker, you're going to pick up an extra yard. You might not pick up an extra 2 yards, so that 12.5 might come into play. But yeah, you're going to pick up that extra yard. And I think, 12 yards on a running play to get it when, you know, you can escape the pocket is a great situation to be in. And the market data, as you know, you can see from the screen, it supports that.
I'm like writing this down right now. Hurts longest rush on FanDuel. So let me ask you this. You've brought this up, and now I'm curious. Do you base a lot of your plays on market-based analysis? So you are certainly a big proponent and really one of the minds behind the odd screen at Sharp. A lot of cool stuff going up on the odd screen, but I do see you definitely seem to have a system here. You've got Pinnacle all the way up in the front, or Pinnacle and FanDuel kind of up at the front of the screener, and you've got all the other books to the side. So the way you're using this screen, are you effectively kind of looking at these props? Hey, what is Pinnacle up to? What's FanDuel up to? And how does that compare to these other ones? And if it starts to get a little bit too far off, acknowledge value is there. I'm hitting it. Is that sort of your style of betting?
Yeah, absolutely. I let the lines kind of dictate and tell me a story. And again, I'm like, if then what? That's my whole, you know, big thing. If then what, right? So I'm like, well, if this is the case, like, how can I gain an extra edge out of that? And I'll give you an example. So hopefully this is still up. Are you seeing my screen right now?
Yeah, I still have yours on.
Okay, cool. So
we got to get you a second screen so you can see both at the same time when we're doing these.
So I'm going to go to anytime touchdown score, right? Okay. And we have Dallas Goedert at plus 320. Okay. At plus 320. Let's go to the odds converter. They're saying that Goddard is going to score 23.81% of the time, right? And I like that. I mean, they're going to have a red zone target, a big guy in Dallas Goedert. It's definitely possible. But when I think about it in the situations where he's going to get a touchdown, I'm thinking it's got to be more so in the second half. I mean, because there's never really been too many situations where Philly's behind, right? If they're ahead, they're going to try and hand it off to Barkley or do a quarterback designed run to try and get it in. But they might not have that luxury in the second half. They might be losing by 14, right? And you're not going to be able to hand it off 5 times in a row in that situation, right? So plus 320 here, that's the anytime touchdown. But here's what's crazy about the odd screen is, and a lot of these other places don't have this. We can go to second half anytime touchdown score. Okay. And this is what blew my mind when I saw it. So let me try and find it. I'm not on my big monitor.
You could type it in there.
There we go. Second half anytime touchdown score. Okay. Dallas Goedert. It's down right now. It did show it, but on Bet365, I'm going to show it here. Super Bowl player props.
Did they pull it? It's possible they pulled it. That thing's real time.
I don't think so, unless my friends already hit it before.
Yeah, did you put this bet out because they're gonna pull it?
All right, here we go. It did go down a little bit, but plus 800. Okay, plus 800 for the second half anytime touchdown score when the whole game is plus 320. I absolutely love that. I mean, so instead of this,
so effectively. If I had to if I were to multiply out the 320, it should be 640. So this is actually reducing the odds. So this is giving you extra juice for the second half, like paying you more, where you're telling me, and the way game flow dictates, it's probably more likely that if he's going to score one, it actually would be in the second. Not to say it's the only way, but it's probably a smidge more likely that touchdown would come in the second half anyway, because in the first half, still a close game, still running the football, doing all that. There's a much higher likelihood that if the game goes a certain way, and I don't know that it definitely will, but if it went a certain way and the Eagles are a little bit behind, trying to play a little catch up in the second half, now there's no longer time to run. With Barkley, you're throwing it. And by the way, that same concept applies to the under bets on Barkley yardage, right? If the Eagles, now I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. The game is projected to be close, but if the Eagles are behind 10 points, it's 10-3. I think a low scoring game, let's say it's 14-7 or 14-3 at halftime. Just like, hey, it's been kind of moving slow. in the second half. They're not running it anymore. They're now giving up on the run. They have to throw it. Got to play catch up. So that is a full flow that speaks to the story of what we've been talking about here anyway.
Absolutely. And so even to like double down on what I was saying before is like, again, like you get to see all these things that you wouldn't normally see because usually you're not even looking at it in the first place. So I got the odds screen back up. This is the first half anytime touchdown, and it's plus 900. Okay. And here's where you find extra value. And I think that's where the true sharpness really lies in. If
So
you
anytime touchdown, just to be clear.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me, because I'm now catching up. I'm the square here that never looks for this stuff. So let me just catch myself up. Anytime touchdown is plus 620. But I can make two separate bets on
320.
That. What is it?
320 for the whole game.
Plus 320. Or I could take that money, the $100 I was going to put on that.
Yep.
I can take 50 and 50, and I'm going to get plus 900 and plus 900.
Plus 900 and plus 800. But yes, exactly.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, you got it.
So much better. So like, no matter what scenario it is, it's always going to be better to split that money and bet the plus 900 plus 800 than it would be to ever get both in one. You're winning the same dollar amount. You're winning more money. Regardless of when it happens. See, that's value. That's even right there.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay, but wait, there's more.
The best part of it.
If you hit the first half, that doesn't mean your second half touchdown bet's dead either.
You're free rolling, baby.
You're free rolling. So you have the chance to not only, say you break $100 into $50 to win $450. Now you still have a chance to win $50 to win another $400, right? So you can win $850 on something you would have only won $320 on if you just bet it straight at FanDuel.
Sucker bet. It's a sucker bet. You either where the sports book itself is offering you a sharper version of it if you just open your eyes and look.
Exactly. It's there. You just got to look. And I mean, this tool, I mean, of course I'm biased, but this is what, I've been working with our developer, with the Sharp app team. And I said, this is what I do anyways. Like if I had something that just automated this process, it would save me so much time and just make life so much easier. And I feel like once, people catch on to that, they're going to save a lot more time and they're going to find this value a lot easier than what they already have been.
I love it. I've always found that when building tools for these purposes and a lot of what I built at DFS Army over the years, same concept. It always started for me with what am I doing anyway? And how can I make that quicker, more convenient, easier? So rather than build for like, hey, I think this is what would be helpful to someone because somebody else told me. No, I would build things that work for the process that I'm already doing. I don't want to have to look at. So I'll give an example right now with one of the things. Like I don't want to have to take a player. One of the things we did when with the partnership between Sharp app and DFS Army is what I would do is I'd get the players. We have our projection, and then I go to the sportsbook and look up all the props and try to compare those things and say, well, who's got good projections? Which one looks good against this? But I'd have to spend a lot of time going back and forth. Then I was like, wait a second. We have this data. So we brought it in and now we have the prop projection. So we effectively can take the props on the player and then we compare it to our standard modeled projection. And I'm like, man, some of these are really different. And when they are, I trust the sports book being correct. It's a twofold thing, actually. Technically, when they're really different, I'm betting the side that our model is pointing to because I'm like, hey, it's probably it should be leaning that way more. But the flip side is for DFS and all of that, I'm going to trust the props and say that's probably a better number. So when I'm making a decision between two players, hey, this guy props out at 11.7. This one is propping out at 11.2. Give me the 11.7 every time, even if their modeled projection is the same. So same concept, stuff that you're already doing, and as a sharp bettor, the type of things that you're looking for, and put a tool together that makes it faster for you to find it. So that was really cool. And I mean, that's a great example. Just what you just said right there. I mean, it's just a much better bet to take the halves than it would be to bet the whole game. And you just have to have enough ability to see all the different sports books. And then, of course, you need all the outs. You got to be able to play on balance.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it one step further. So like, again, like I feel like, I feel like I keep plugging in like these exchanges like ProfitX, but it opens up so much because again, like you can't get limited, right? So I'm going to show you here. Right now, for some reason, it doesn't show. We're still working on that. But at Pinnacle, it's a two-way market for the Jalen Hurts touchdown. So yes is minus 132. No is plus 115. Okay. And Pinnacle's another site where they're not going to limit you. You can max out whatever limits they give you and you're fine. Okay. So if I take the plus 115, right? And
we can't bet on Pinnacle here in the United States. They're biased.
but for those that can, you can get the no for plus 115, and then you go over here on ProfitX and you can get minus 113. So you get a direct arb on two sites that will never limit you. That's the stuff
that's money in the bank. You should be hammering that right now, not waiting. That's money in the bank right there. It's just free money. Speaking of arbs, Keith, I want to let the watchers know that we are about a week to a week, 1 to 2. We're about, I'm going to say 2 weeks. We're about 2 weeks away, to give us a little bit of space, from launching the ARB tool on the Sharp app. It is a game changer. What's coming? We see it in the background. We have the data flowing in the background. Our guys are trading it in the background all throughout the day. Like, I think that's slowing us down. Instead of trading ARBs all day, we need to be completing that tool, but just testing it. And it is awesome. It is a way to Alex, the way you talked about the coin flip bet and just that. And
yep.
Hey, I didn't make that much, but hey, I'm churning a lot of points, points and bonuses along the way. With the ARB tool, you are going to be making, it will identify locked in profits all throughout the day, little spots that you can jump on, make, 2%, 4%, 6%. It's a fun way to bet. It's a different approach to betting. You got to be fast. There's a little talent required. One of the cool things we have is one of the features on that tool is like a bet now. So you could just click a button, it loads sick. Because you got to be fast. You can't find that market without the bet now. That's what you can't find the market. Like, it takes too long to go and start searching and typing in words on a sports, but you never find it. Bet now, boom, tickets loaded on your screen. Keith, you could show it, but bet now, boom, ticket loads up right on your screen there, right on the right side. If you click it, it's open. Oh, it's going to, of course, open a different tab that's not showing on our screen. So it's not the greatest demo here, Keith, but
boom.
Yeah, you tabbed it to a different one.
Right there we go. Right.
But bam,
there you go.
Opens up the trade ticket. So that is coming on the Sharp app. So keep your eye open for that. And you guys who are not signed up at Sharp, you should do it now before the price. That tool will come out. And again, the Pro Plus plan will go up in price commensurate to having a tool like that. So you got a couple of weeks off. Still, it will. Of course, the odds screener is already there. The real-time odds screen, everything that Keith is showing here, it's already there. An ARB tool coming, EV tool next, middling tool. We have a lot of high-level advantage better tools coming in the next couple of weeks. Really 3, 4, 5 weeks. Tools are going to drop one after another. So I really want to see people get in there now before the cost of that subscription goes up. And it's like a little it's a side hustle. I've been doing a lot of talking about side hustles and ways of earning money that, besides your job. And it is like a job, in fairness. It's not the same. It's different than betting on the game because you're watching it and you're going to the bar and you want to watch it. That's a different kind of a bet. That's a casual type of player. And you don't need this tool for that. I would not even recommend this. Just, don't need anything. Just go have fun and, bet your games. But if you want to be on the advantage side of these bets, these type of tools and this approach is certainly one of the ways. And of course, Keith and Alex, you guys are like some of the sharpest bettors I know, and you're getting on these sort of next level math plays, like the touchdown prop half, like the second half touchdown rather than the main one. So identifying spots like that is really, really cool as well. What else we have before we let the people go?
Real quick, just the fact that it marries the sports books together and the bet now function is game changing. Like you just said, those seconds matter. If you have to minus your tab to go open up FanDuel to see if make sure the price is still there to arb on either side, the fact that it has bet now is literally a game changer. So I really love that tool.
You can't do it any other way, by the way. It will not work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the timing and the amount that you're able to get down, right? So, and the fact that it can find, the maximum on either side is massive. That is really cool.
Yeah, it takes you right to the right book. And one of the cool things about the tool is you tell it what sports books you have access to. We try, the recommendation is going to be have every single out you could possibly have in your region of the world. So we're going to recommend have every single one of these. And why not? Like it doesn't, have a couple bucks on each one. But if you can't, you're just going to tell it which ones you have so that when those opportunities pop up, I do that with the Proptimizer. Like literally the tool you have up on the screen, the Proptimizer, Keith, I do that too. And I use the bet now because I just want to clip those values. So I'll go in there and I'll just clip them all. I'll just, I want to bet for tonight. Boom. I'll run down the list of the top values and my bet size, it might be $25, $50 each. I like to keep it small because I want to do a lot of them. I believe that this style of betting, it works better with massive amounts of volume. I don't even necessarily want to know too much about each spot. I'm going to trust the model. I'm going to trust the projection. I'm going to trust that there's a little bit of edge value there. I'm going to trust that I'm going to lose half of these plays or 42% of them or some amount that's appropriate. And I'm not going to sweat it because that's the style that I want to do. It's easy and it's kind of a fun way to bet on these games. At the end of the day, you're not really looking at each individual play. You're really just looking at how'd I do today. I did 50 of these bets. I did 30
the overall
of them.
Money you just racked in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you lost them all, that would be so unusual that you'd have to know that something's going to, do you know that the guy, the gambler, Mickey Mays?
Yes.
He's face tat guy, hanging with Dana White. He's a social influencer guy.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I believe his stories or not. Like, I don't know. You say no. So I don't know. But he does tell the story of going and playing Baccarat. And he's like, I lost $9 million. And he's like, something crazy was going on because you cannot lose in a row. He's like, I had lost like 14 in a row. Like, no matter what I did, I lost. And that's a 50-50 bet. He's like, I knew, he tells the story and it's true. He's like, I knew there's a mathematical impossibility that this is happening by accident. And so the way he tells that story is he's like, I figured out that they were cheating and that's how I was losing those bets. And then I figured out how they were cheating. And then I won my money back in 10 minutes. Like that's the story he tells. Don't know if it's true. I'm not endorsing that story, but the point was he was correct in the sense that you can't make 20, 30, 50 bets in a row and lose them all.
Yeah.
At that point, that it's a mathematical impossibility. Something's going on here that ain't right. It's like, you just can't lose. They're 50-50 propositions. You're not going to be wrong 25 times in a row. Like something's happening. He's like, I knew it was fake because it's impossible to lose that many times. So same idea with this. If you have a 55% edge and you do it 30 times in a day, I might win 55% of them, but I'm probably not going to lose 100% of them. Like, I might lose money, but I'm not going to lose all of them.
Yeah. So what I love about it is it's a quick way to get volume fast, right? And it's so important because if we're following good bankroll management, which we all should, right? And I always recommend to do 1% as a unit. So you're just going to, like, if you have $1,000, you're only going to bet, $10. And you think, oh, that's so small. No, it adds up. Like if you're getting down 30 bets a day, that's $300 in volume. And if you're getting 5%, right? 10% is 30, half of that's 15. You're making $15 a day. That's not bad.
It's
right?
only small.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It's only small if you're doing one bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's big when you're doing 30 of them. Like all of a sudden, wait a minute, I got, if you're even at that size, I have $300-$400 going in a single night. That can happen even on a $10 bet size.
Yep. And, we're going to be able to, help onboard people so that, that they're not overwhelmed, so that, they get set up with the sports books that they need to for their outs.
Yeah.
So don't be overwhelmed, feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you get set up. And once you're set up, it's literally as easy as just clicking. Right.
Keith, let's wrap it up there. We lost Alex. We did a solid hour. We got some bets here on the board. Remind me, we got Goddard overs.
Yep.
We got the
AJ Brown overs.
AJ Brown over and an over on Hurts passing yards.
At Bet Rivers, very important because
Yes.
that is such an outlier line. I think they're also hanging 219.5 at plus 155. I love that. It's on Camby. Again, this is where, like, you know, you can capitalize. So, like, even if you're limited on Bet Rivers, it's a Camby network skin. You know, find
No one knows what you're talking about
that are powered by Camby.
you just leveled up beyond what anybody understood what you're talking about. Camby is effectively, you know, like, let's call it the meat and potatoes behind some of the sports books just use like one system to power them. You know, and you figure out who they are because, you know, Bet Rivers and, for example,
Sugar House.
I think Fanatics, or there was a second or third one that they're always the same, and it's because they're all being powered by a single system. So it doesn't matter which one you get it on. It's all the same. So yeah, went a little over the head of the people there, but Camby, I'm like, what the hell's Camby? I don't know. Like Canada? Is that some Canada shit? But so I picked it up. Yeah. Yeah. Final thoughts on Super Bowl betting though. What are your final thoughts on it? Is it for serious bettors? Is this just recreational? How do you feel about the recreational bets? Am I a donkey if I bet on Travis Kelce to propose?
I mean, I would view it as like an entertainment bet. And that's the thing, like at Super Bowl parties, you want to be able to talk to girls and be like, yeah, like, you know, like I'm pretty sure like if you're talking to a girl at a Super Bowl party, they're going to be far more interested in your bet on that than say like, you know, a Pacheco under, right?
I'm going to keep it real. I'm way too scared to talk to girls.
But yeah, I mean, I love those type of props. Sometimes you can find edges. The markets fluctuate, right? And whether you believe it or not, you can actually arb some of the stuff on those sites. Like
one crazy thing we were doing before the show, and I was hoping that we'd find some edges or something. We were checking on Polymarkets, which is a crypto prediction site where you'd get more of those silly prop type deals. And looking, and they do have some. There are some if you're in not the United States, because it's another one you can't get on here. But if you're out, I use it just more. I actually believe in the Polymarket, like those predictions. I believe them. Like I think people are predicting with their money. I think it's actually one of the sharpest ways to guess what's going to happen in the future. Effectively, look at what the betting odds are saying, and you could also use that to predict some of these bets. Like if on Polymarket, for example, they were saying Blue Gatorade 40%, and that's a bet that's available. You want to be on, you know, I would accept that as somewhat real. So yes. There are other places you could look prediction markets for some of those crazy, like, will somebody go streaking in the Super Bowl? No, you know.
It's funny you say that because again, there are some sharp bettors that actually kind of use Pinnacle as a source of truth on those recreational crazy bets, if you will. So if you have, you know, a Profit X in the background and you're ready to snipe, you see a Pinnacle market go down and then come back with much, much worse odds. Chances are there's a big reason for that.
I love it.
If you're able to time that and smash it on the exchange site, that's probably plus EV in my books.
Yeah, and I'll show it one more time here, like kind of what Keith is doing with the odds screen, because I just find it fascinating. So you're going, when you have your markets open, effectively, you know, you can get whatever markets you want down here. And
I don't think we're going to have color Gatorade in the odds screen, though.
We ain't getting that one, but we're probably getting, what is this? Why are they giving me money? Yeah. Oh, wait. NFL. Yeah. So as I go to this and I want to pick a market for I'm looking for bigger markets, prop markets here. So even like first half, anytime touchdown score or something like that, open up the Pinnacle and FanDuel versions, put them in the front, and allow that to be the determinant. If it's far off from FanDuel, far off from Pinnacle, you're saying those are the spots to attack. So we can just, like, if I just added Pinnacle, yeah, I gotta add it, right? And I want to, well, none of these.
We're not going to have it on first half touchdowns.
Yeah, whatever this market is. Of course, for the example, I chose the worst possible market. But player touchdowns. Let's see if we have that one. Yeah, there we go. So kind of grab Pinnacle, put it up at the front, and observe.
Yeah.
And if there's a major difference, that's a spot to hit. So yeah, plus 240. We need the under versions of them, and actually touchdown's not going to do that either. But that's the general concept.
Absolutely. I think Justin Watson was a prop that I found this way. Because I think he's plus 1,800 on one of the rec books.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, plus 1,800 on Bet Rivers. There you go.
A little bit of value there. Actually, oh my goodness. MGM wants you to bet 2 touchdowns. Get out of here. Are you crazy? Even that one though on Bally plus 1,800 versus I guess plus 1,600 here on one of these other ones. So or 1,200 on FanDuel. You did that against FanDuel. So
I'm
FanDuel,
a big believer in FanDuel. When FanDuel has a lower price than other books, that's something that I look for because they're usually the industry leader in what they're safe with.
Yeah, FanDuel, the sharp book. All right, Keith, great stuff. A great little Super Bowl primer. Do you have a bet for the main game?
For the main game, I actually like the under. And you can actually start sniping under 49s for under minus 110. I love that. I think that, KC's going to keep things in front of them. I think there's going to be a lot of pass completions, and Philly's going to be fine with that. As long as they restrict the big explosive plays, they're like, all right, you want to throw a screen to Xavier Worthy for 3-4 yards, go for it. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, you got Philly that's going to try and grind them down with Barkley runs, right? And in both situations, that clock is just going to go. And yeah, I think, a lot of people tend to bet overs, and it's kind of giving us a little bit of an edge, not too much, because again, the markets are efficient. But I really like 49. 49 is a great number. 48 is the magic number that you kind of want to stay above. That's my pick for the overall. Sides, I don't know. It's a toss-up for me.
First of all, I love the underplay. I was talking about that before the show. How much I think they're going to start slow on this one, and people get excited for overs, but both of these teams are elite defenses that got here playing great defense first and foremost. I also think neither offense, although the Chiefs have been better in the playoffs, were that great in the regular season. We are fooling ourselves because we forgot, because the Eagles are coming off that crazy game where they destroyed the Commanders, and the there's Alex. And the Chiefs are also coming
Tactical
up
difficulties.
that late, some high scoring affairs against the Bills. This should go different. So Keith was just Alex. Keith was just saying he likes the under on the total. I agree on that. There's no value in it. You're not going to find value on Super Bowl sides, by the way.
No.
The books are aligned here. The number is fairly correct, but I could see both teams starting off slow. I feel like you took 2 weeks off. It's like when they come off a bye week. A little tight, especially the Eagles side, a little nervous, a little tight. Throw the ball over AJ Brown's head a little couple times.
It's a couple.
Throws it high, that kind of thing. So I like that. And I think if you're betting aside, and again, this has nothing to do with value. These are not advantage bets. There's no value here. I think you got to take the Chiefs just because the Chiefs find a way to win these games. That's what they do. It's like betting against the Patriots. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for my Eagles fan. I am an honorary Eagles fan. I don't know if you know this, Alex.
Fair enough. Yep.
In Philadelphia, they call me a friend of Ben Franklin from Philadelphia.
From Philly.
Yeah, he's from Philly.
Well, let me take the other side of that coin for a second here before I have some more technical difficulties and don't be able to get your plays out to you. I actually like Kansas City in the first half over 12.5 points. So I heard you kind of just talking about how you think they're going to kind of come out slow. They've gone over this 12.5 number in 6 straight games, including both of the playoff games so far this year, putting up 21 versus Buffalo and 13 versus Houston. I don't think the Chiefs are coming out flat. They've been there before. This is Andy Reid off a bye. This guy is an absolute monster. Everybody kind of knows his structure, and I don't think this moment's too big for them. They've been there 5 out of the last 6 times. They put up in all 3 of the games versus the Eagles that they've played over the last relative amounts where it's mostly the same teams. They've gone over this team total each of the first halves every time. And I think the best way for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles is to come out to a big start and kind of make the Eagles a one-dimensional team, because we've talked about this with the pressure to Jalen Hurts. He doesn't do well in pressure. So if they can take Saquon Barkley out of the mix and get to a higher team total and in the first half, I think that the road to victory is the best way for them. So I actually do already have a bet on the Kansas City team total over 12.5 in the first half.
I'm going to take that because I don't mind that. I don't mind that team total, and I'm going to parlay it. Same game parlay that with a full game under.
Ooh, reverse correlation.
Algo.
Yes, I like.
Giving me Keith, what's the number on that? That's got to be plus 400-500.
The SGP pricing engines are a little above my pay grade.
All right, I thought you could just mental it out.
Yeah, exactly. Here. What do you mean? Your mental capacity should have.
Yeah, just mental that thing out. But my guess would be if you combine that spot, instead of, they're both let's say minus 115 spots on their own, but together they will form a Voltron monster, plus 500. This can't happen prop that could power your bankroll. So a little fun concept there. And I actually agree with you, Alex. I think the Chiefs are more likely to be super comfortable out there.
Sure. Yep.
It's the Eagles side that I'm worried about from a playing tight and falling behind early perspective. There, it's not just the weeks off, but also sort of the possibility that their best player. Yeah, it's a scary moment. It's their first time here. Yeah, they'll take a breath, but you could lose a quarter of play, on the overhype moment.
Losing your breath. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Stop myself. Take a breath. Calm down, guys. It's cool. And who knows what's going to happen. But, in the first quarter anyway, I think the Eagles might come out a little bit tight here just for the moment. It's a big moment for them. The Eagles fans are long suffering. And the Eagles didn't necessarily expect to get here when this season started. This was not some situation that we all thought was going to be.
Yeah, after the choke job last year, coming out so hot and then losing 6-8 games in a row to, one and done against Tampa Bay last year. Yeah, I agree.
An awful lot of that.
This is a Saquon. This is a Saquon year, though. It's it's a different animal.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I keep hearing that too.
Forget the birthday, but I'll say this about Saquon. Did he or did he not prove that running backs matter?
Yeah, him and Derrick Henry, 100%.
Yeah, they don't matter when they're on the Giants and the team stinks, but at the highest levels, the fact that Saquon did what he did this year, Derrick Henry aside, Saquon much more so to me, proved that on the right situation, a great running back is a difference maker, and it's not just a guy, and it's not replacement level. It's a difference maker, and you will see this in the draft this year where teams are going to notice that, and you'll see hopefully some of the better teams realizing, hey, you know what? Maybe I can stretch a little bit, or maybe I can pay my running back now that before I didn't want to pay them. But there are also only maybe 3 or 4 difference makers at the position, and the rest are all med.
But if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, is it all for nothing? Because it's not like, Kansas City's paying anyone, and they've been there 5 of the last 6 years, right? So
that's how I feel on my Saquon Barkley dynasty teams. We got to the playoffs, and then I didn't win the thing. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
He's just a year older now.
Yeah.
So we shall see. All right, let's wrap it up there, guys. Reminder, Sharp app is where the Sharp bettors go to get their advantage bets and their tools for advantage betting. Go check out Sharp app. Also, if you want to check out ProfitX and get signed up with those guys, you can win a Rolly with $100 deposit. It is worth. I'm doing it. Yeah. I want the fucking Rolex. I want to wear a watch. I'm just going to sell it. Sorry, don't tell them, but that's what I'm going to do. But I'll take it though. And you get in there, promo code Sharp app. ProfitX is an app. It's available in 40 plus states here in the US. It is an exchange. It's always the best line. It's just a question of how much volume you can get down. Bigger markets, smaller markets, but that is growing. So they're an exchange. Figure it out. Promo code Sharp app for that one, and you can get on ProfitX and probably have a good chance of winning a Rolex. And by a good chance, I mean 1 out of however many people sign up for the promo is your odds. So maybe not that good of a chance.
And real quick, if you're really interested in joining the Sharp app, feel free to join the Discord and, just ask for me. I'm the Sharp Surgeon. I will help onboard the process for you. We're here to help you guys figure it all out. I know it can be overwhelming at first, but once you're set up, I guarantee you'll love it.
That's right. And the link to the free Discord, it's free. The free part of Discord in the description below. You can get in there, jump in, ask some questions, see if it's the right place for you. You want to bet like an advantage better? That's not for everybody. That's not for everyone. I understand it. If you don't like chasing the best line on books, if you don't like making a lot of bets, you just want to make one, that's not the right spot for you. There are we have stuff for that too. But if you want to truly take advantage of the tools at Sharp, you want to be that kind of person. Final thoughts, Alex, where can we find the podcast?
I got the Gorilla Sports Podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, it's on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, it's on all of them. Yeah, pound your chest when you're rocking with the Gorilla. I've been on a pretty nasty NBA run as well, but I cover a lot of football as well. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, man. I absolutely love the Sharp app. I'm not affiliated with these guys, but I can literally speak to it. I love this app. I don't make a play without looking and using it at first. I love the app, and yeah, no, honestly, it's a real endorsement from somebody who bets a lot, and yeah, I use it all the time, guys. Seriously,
I love to hear it.
That's nasty means A to no, not the nasty bad part.
Wait, what?
Yeah, nasty's good. Yeah, nasty's good.
It went over my head. Alex, I'm assuming you are based in Canada.
I am. Yeah, just outside of Toronto. Yeah. Well, Toronto everything, but we don't have a football team in Canada.
I can tell. Yeah, you know what? We'd have to tariff that shit if you did.
If you
too soon?
Too soon? Next day.
Sorry. Sorry, that was a too soon one. We'll feel better about it later. All right. That's going to do it. Alex is frozen. I didn't even get the reaction I wanted because he froze. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Super Bowl prop show. Good luck this weekend to everybody betting. We will see you guys around. And of course, we want to see you in the Sharp Discord. Link in the description. Take care, everyone.
All right. Be safe.